Is temporal scope and inflammatory. This is the effect.
I don't know what else to suggest, but I humbly submit I have broken my sweat, and for this, all but this shall we permit. Okay, I don't know. Austin Emil Santalella. I'm talking to myself. Let me put on something a little more appropriate for the sound. The sound of silence. The sound of silence sounds like such thing as less apocalypse now. Colonel Kirk. Captain Kirk. Alright, anyways, I'm just talking. It's embarrassing, and it's not necessary that I have to do anything or say anything. I just wanted to be a little bit friendly before I didn't have the strength to do it this afternoon. I'm going to be taking off and coming back later on shortly for the apartment, get out of the house for a little while. I just wanted a couple things. I don't remember what I was going to say at all. I really don't remember what I'm even doing it for, but there are a few sentiments I remember I think I ought to reflect upon. Number one is, let's start with, I don't want to cause anybody harm or just disturb anybody's peace. I don't want anybody to get mad at me or ban me or restrict me for being here today. I'll keep it as quiet. Like I say, I don't plan on being here doing the press the button thing all day because I'm not. I broke that attention fixation thing. I've been stuck in a kind of a rut, I think. Didn't even know I was able to get anywhere else or feel like anything else until I can change. I got some rest. I'm eating better, I think, maybe overall. I don't know. The choice of what I'm eating, I got healthier instead of worse. The mention is there's a couple, like, I'd rather be entertaining and leisurely and recreational, but there are a couple things I want to mention. The update with the United Nations is none of my business, but it is. I feel it's very pertinent for me to recognize where I'd rather be living, who I'd rather be knowing to be around me, what they're thinking, and for safety and understanding, for intelligence and compassionate care, intelligent personal life with compassionate people. I would prefer to understand what's going on. So I say to myself, I'm not going to be as racist. I think I made a huge video attempt yesterday in my rage of honor or disregard for the community standards and being banned and deleted and restricted and removed and everything. I got removed off of YouTube last night with the last minute video I made in my kitchen, because it was so direct. What's motivating my moral fiber to remind myself that I have something to do or something to say has been distracting me with the terrible, heinous, abhorrent recognition of events that I feel have become and should become a cultural collective conscience on the United States soul, intellect, and moral fiber to be reminded and to be shown what's going on. My feeling is in regard to the effect of the people in Israel who are being murdered still indiscriminately by these sick Arabs. And these guys, these ladies and gentlemen of the Gaza Strip and their neighbors are somehow, with the Syrians and the Jordanians and the Egyptians and all these psychos, Lebanese, Hezbollah, Iran, they're all doing the same thing for the same sick effect. They think that their brute force is going to mutilate and butcher their way through life. And to call it any other way after the enormous amount of loss and suffering and consideration for these for the victims of these brutal, barbaric, psychotic, violent children, men and women who surround Israel. They have no regard for the life and limb, let alone property or sanctity of life and limb and property and defensive self-preservation for anybody but themselves in some code that they believe from a book. Apparently it's a faith system that's just a collection of traditional culture and teachings that rips off or models after, to include mentioning other people related to the Judeo-Christian Abrahamic faith, while they profess to be from Ishmael, the other brother, right, of Abraham, right, who are we, right? Think about what's going on. They're the Canaanites and everything. They became the incestuous generation. They were the ones that wanted to butcher, murder for their gain in grace. They believe that's all they got. They're tent people. They've never been settled. And then they come out of the woodwork and call it Islam. It's only recent generations ago that they were stopping what they had think they were doing. They were forcing everything by murder and butchery, by domination and enslavement. And they haven't stopped feeling that way about it. And the issue of consideration that their soft jihad is not allowing us to murder them outright for self-defense purposes, let alone catalog them as an enemy, identifiable under the terms that I believe I'm being restricted, banned, and deleted, and is for any length of time. It's never been an out-of-context conversation or debatable statistical factor to mention the current events and the historical context in which it plays out, as I understand context and historical accuracy, to mention how related it all became in our face, in our generation. The 21st century prominently has become openly destroyed or desecrated by the notion of a faith cult system known as Muslim appeasement. You're a demitude. With that notion of allowing people who are inbreeding with their relatives and children and enslaving others to do it and consider themselves outside of and above the character and form and relationship with the people around them not associated as Muslim, they believe they have the rights in their faith cult delusion of grandeur. It's a second, I want to say, well, I said the wrong thing. Let's just go on with something else. And then the issue will go on to, I don't want to be more distressed for the rest of this afternoon. I just had a little bit of something to eat that made me feel a little rejuvenated to take the effort to put the camera out with the flash on me in a darker room where the bright flash is very hard to deal with in my eyes right now. Alright, so it's changing my heart rate and everything, getting upset, stabbing. Alright, so anyway, the bottom line is I'm kind of trying not to get overly personal with the notion of so much nonsense over the name of these people who have got no regard for us whatsoever. They haven't got any regard for the people they're living around, and they feel they have to do something about us. Whether we want them here to do it or not, they're going to do it. They're calling it Islamification, liberation, and it's a false sense of recognizing one from the other as a conditional term of being master and slave. It's totally anti-American, anti-Christ, anti-Judaic Christian value, anti-Judaism. Absolutely, they're signaling and telling everyone openly and forefront from their faith system in a book, traditional passing on of culture and folklore, of how to live, behave, as exterminating and accepting nothing to do with Jewish people. And you ban us for saying that. Because apparently the Muslims must be owning most of Meta, Facebook, YouTube, for them to allow the heinous news events that we read broadcast as public associated press, public domain, accessible, public record, statistical fact, not debatable or refutable. It's not an opinion. These are statistics, and you can't recognize them if it has anything to do with certain protected class of people known as whoever the hell they deem outside of me. Not for nothing, my perspective and relationship to the reasoning and recognition of the event, incident report, and my subsequent reactionary comments absolutely are to protect and defend and preserve as much as educate others, especially myself, as I develop and become creative, generating ideas on the spot, needing to express myself in such a reaction. It's better than going out in the street with a machete like these animals are doing all over the world and trying to get away with it. There's no excuse why the Christians in Nigeria don't have a people around them going into the Muslim areas with more than a machete and starting to really make the desire known and restrain these people, physical brute like reasonable amount of force, and contain them or destroy them. They're not people, they're mad animals, they're dogs for pay. They're vicious. Once you become a brute in actuality, and you become heinous, committed crimes against humanity to harm others, you let me know when I should be the one that's being told I'm the one who's wrong for reacting to these people and trying to warn the public to firm up a little bit and reason with themselves that there is a target, there is a profile, there is a mode of operation, and they're called Muslims. And that's who they do this for. They do this for their hope in what they believe to be how they were brought up and what they intend to do about dying that way. They take people with them and they call themselves martyrs. They don't think twice about it. The ones who are doing it. And they're not going to stop doing it. No matter what kind of cult, tier of faith system, or otherwise known as dogma you try to water down everybody and tell everybody this is not radical Islam. This is there's peaceful Muslims. That it's the same position, end result, goal to die with the same condition, for the same causes, under the same teachings and traditions as they understand their family upbringing and norm. They're normalized to do what they're doing. It's not your normal. It's not my normal, and that's why I get overreacting. Sometimes it really does bother me because I over accentuate my personal experience and try to recognize myself. It's the way it's a creative effort for me to get off on myself, apparently, with my ego here by myself. Without a distraction, I go over the line a little bit. I apologize when I do it. I play the drums more than I used. You want to know the truth is I should be doing more with myself than talking, but I don't feel like moving around and enjoying it right now as much as I would or have been able to in the past, because I have other issues to distract me right now with my son and myself right now. I'd rather be doing a social occasion than this. And the in closing part of this video, I'm trying to keep it shorter. These videos are too long. they're not that entertaining if they're too long. They're not entertaining at all, but they're hard to bear with if you've got to watch them more than 5 minutes. This is already almost 10, 15 minutes. But my notion is to become very direct and personal for the fact that I don't want to attract the wrong kind of crowd, and I don't want to be around people that I consider to be something that I got to not feel. I want to be normal around people and not have a fear around people, a threat that I'm going to be, attacked or offended, challenged. And the way I see the world, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna matter anymore as I am outside of the fact that I'm only trying to preserve and protect my little freedom bubble that I have around me, that I intend to keep my equilibrium and my disability at arm's reach, that I can handle the rigors of showing up and having any reason to show up at all, And all right, so let me leave it at that. I'm talking to myself. The room's dark. I'm having a good time, thinking I look handsome enough on the side view over here with the camera with my neck angled up. This is me sitting up straight, but it's too far from the microphone on the table. See, the microphone's over here. It's on this little machine. It's in the machine. If I go too far away from it, I think I'm sounding less sexy for the ladies. Hey, you want to know what's real? Israel's real. And now I want to say, for further ado, no offense, that lady in the New York Post, 60 years old, I said to myself, Austin Mill, you don't need anything else but the truth. I'm 56, going on 57 this April, honey. Think it's funny, but does your mama know where you are? Alright, I gotta go home. Let me get off the button. Let me press the button and get off the machine. The big machine. See this fan? It's like a time machine. Alright, when you move around, you can remember. Alright, anyway, I gotta go. Really, I'm crazy to myself. I'm having a good time, I think too good of a time. And, I'm alone doing it. Nice day. I'm not upset. At the moment, I can't say I want to hurt anybody's emotional content and recognize more trauma for what it is. It's all, it's a song and a dance, and it's always going to be, you got to pick yourself up. You got to pick yourself up. And nobody else is putting on my pants but me. That's what I'm going to say to myself when I wear them. Got to wear them sometimes. And I don't like sitting in chairs with my you got to have your butt covered when you sit in a chair. You can't leave a sledge trail. I always said that to my son when we were growing up, like little kids. You got to cover your butt. Yeah, I know. I'm making that up. I didn't, I never had to tell my son that. All right, anyway, cut it out, Austin. You got to go home. You gotta go home. You gotta go home. I wish I wasn't alone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. The Thanksgiving is gonna be whatever they offer, whatever I get. I guess somebody might donate a turkey for me from the VA. She called me. That was very nice. I might get that. I got some I baked a couple sweet potatoes that were donated to me from a VA social worker this last week too, which was a surprise. I just had one for lunch and it was buttered and salt and in the oven. It was tasty with the I had coleslaw too on the side with sweet potato, butter, salt, oven baked, with real coleslaw from Publix markets out here in Florida. Their deli, and it was very sweet. It was a perfect hot cold with nice cold grape electrolyte watered down that I get out of Walmart. The Equate watered down grape, half and half electrolyte. Kept refilling my glass, so it was like kept washing it down. Hot cold, wash it down with grape. All right, butter. All right, let me go. I gotta talk to myself another way. I don't want to just keep looking at the computer with my blurry eyes. They hurt. They really hurt. All right, I gotta go. Thank you for letting me be here. Have a Nakila.